Welcome, everyone. It's me, DJC Game Studios. The Retro Advisory Board dropping knowledge.
You guys just replaced me live?
Intellivision Amico.
And Geeks with Cash. Welcome, everyone. Oh, hey, look who is out in the wild. It's Nick, Geeks with Cash. Spending some cash, I take it. Probably on some delicious food, because it's about that time.
A wild geek historian spotted.
A wild geek historian has appeared. Oh, now he's all choppy and crazy. Like he was fine right before we went live. Okay. Well, anyways, Rab, good to see you at home. Warm inside.
Good, sir.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, good to be in. Yeah, good to be inside.
Oh, my goodness. How's it going, everyone? Back from the dead. How's it going? Oh, we lost Nick temporarily. I'm sure he's at an undisclosed burger location. Jan says, happy 65th birthday. It's 68th. I told you it's 68. I turned 68. PJ, what's happening? What's happening? Dan Ruff in the house. And let's see. Dark Side late again, of course. Hey, would it be a show if I wasn't late? At least I'm wearing King Hippo, and he's getting punched right in his bandage. Anyways.
I failed to coordinate.
And I was not taking a dump again. I did that before, everyone. I did that before. Blood and teeth. Hey, let's go, boys. That's right. Yeah, I got out of the way. I didn't leave midstream yet. Panda sub, I knew he'd like this. Your poll is offensive. There's only one true boxing game, and that is Tyson. Oh, that is included in Punch-Out, sir. Do you not know your history? You even played the arm wrestling game? We'll get into that, too, today. Hey, Nick's back, we think.
Really?
Yeah, and that boxing game, too. I actually almost put
there
that
we go.
in there.
I lost, all audio with you guys. When it went to the intro. Like, it muted everything. I could have unmuted. I didn't. When we came back live, I'm like, no, I can't hear anybody.
That's all right. Do we hear you now?
We hear you. It's good.
What's happening?
Okay.
A little less awkward.
The original Zach, what's happening? The original Next Level Gaming. A lot of originals in the chat today. So what'd you get? Just another viewer with the popcorn, just checking things out. What's happening? Wii boxing. Well, we had Punch-Out, so if you're counting that, then if you're counting regular, then no, not even close. Like I have, it's a poll. You guys can say whatever you want. I don't know. I'm just talking because that's the way it goes. Mickey Phantom, welcome back.
There was Wii Sports Boxing as well. There was always that one.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's the poll is
right now.
Yeah, there's a poll is the best boxing game ever, and we have Punch-Out, Evander Holyfield's Real Deal, Buster Douglas Knockout, and Ring King. Those are the four choices for just. And when we go through those, like the Punch-Out is obviously, it could be the NES versions, the Mike Tyson's, the Super Punch-Out, the arcade versions, the Wii version. It could be that's just the Punch-Out series. The other two I think only came out on a couple platforms, and then as far as Ring King, that could be NES, that could be whatever platform you played it on, arcade as well. I'm going through here. I think I'm caught up. Mr.
No-show vote for Black and Bruised. It's pretty good.
What's up, DJC and Rab? That must have been right before Nick. Now he's coming in clear. Yeah, it was before he left us. Almost got replaced with a flamingo, sir, but you made it just back in time.
That's okay.
Mystic Seer,
I probably had it coming. The flamingo owes us. Yeah, the flamingo owes me, by the way.
Yes.
For the record.
I'm sure it does. It owes all of us. It's sitting. I just noticed he's sitting right there. Right back there.
Oh, the flamingo does not owe me. It sends me countless messages.
David.
I remember that time I covered for you? Yeah, you still owe
Yeah,
me.
pretty much. That's how it is.
Here's my Venmo. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you anything through Venmo. Western Union him. You still owe the flamingo, man. Just saying.
He's saying it's no need for a. So Panda Sub says no. I know about punch, and I'm saying, well, it's the boxing game. What did I put? Favorite boxer? Did I mess it up or something?
What?
No, I put it's favorite. It's best boxing game ever. If I put boxer, then I'm sorry. Yeah, Tyson is pretty awesome, but yeah, punch that would be Punch Out, dude.
We are.
Maybe I messed it up. I did it last minute. I didn't know what to do. Darkside asked, is Nick using, if you already seen this, a Nokia brick phone for this stream? He's coming in clear now. Cameron Hayes in the house. Yep, popcorn. Get your popcorn. Nick has AOL, says Original Zach. And Rab with a full glass to the rim of vodka. Always. Wow.
Just water today, getting over a cold, so.
No, I hope you're doing well, man. That's awesome. I appreciate you coming
Hydrate
on.
before you vote, guys. Hydrate. It's really important.
Just a viewer says at some point in the stream you explained the reason the video from earlier. Absolutely. Because I kind of want to bring the other guys in on that. I kind of said my part in my video, but you know, it's nothing like you don't know. It's just something I put out earlier. Yes, I am willing to play Ultimate Chicken Horse whenever all of us want to get on the Panda stream and do that. I'm down to actually try it. I'm down. Mr. Matthews, what's going on? Hi, Nick. Also, hi, Nick. Big Block Plymouth in the house, just keeping the dream alive. Can you play as a flamingo? You can play as a flamingo in Goat Simulator. You're probably talking about Farm Simulator, but yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Maybe I need to get that now just for that.
I think there is a goat simulator as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't even
specifically. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, see, this is why you should all vote for Punch Out because Don Flamingo's in there. That counts.
Don Flamingo. Thomas Bryan, hello, fellows. Following your chat in DC today. Nice. Live in the moment. What is happening? Good to see you, sir. Cheers. Yeah, Rab's drinking water. I said Drab. I meant Rab. Rab's drinking water. No wine. No.
Drab is dry today.
He's drab and drinking water. We're having some miscommunication. Ignore me. It was a joke. It didn't land.
There was no joke.
Now that would have been a funny joke that didn't land.
There was no joke. That was a catfighting word.
Well.
Sorry, PJ. I beat you to it.
We get Amico chat in the stream, even if it's a recap. Yeah, we'll talk some Amico and stuff. I mean, there's nothing really new. I'm just hoping for good stuff coming up. And we'll talk about, because a lot of people are talking timelines too, and I'm like, I hope no one misunderstood that. I don't know how. We can get into that in a second, but yes. Sorry, I can't ignore what people want. All right, I don't know why I double triple clicked it, but it was the remix. Late September band. Hello from Toronto. Well, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Hey there.
And whoops. And of course, everything jumps around as soon as I did that.
Of course it does.
The Original Zach says DJC and Rab are in one room with a very long game shelf. You're right. It does look like. What we do is I put an LED light on and he puts an incandescent in, so that way he's got the soft light and I got this, so you don't think it's the same room, but it is. It really is. We share. I don't know.
He puts me in the Richard Crocker corner. I get no love or light. No UV.
I currently have In-N-Out Burger, guys. My wife had a craving, so we went halfway across town to get like a burger.
Yeah,
so we're on our way back, and I'm like, I'll just pop in from the car. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Hey, it'll just be fine, man. So what we were talking about.
Sorry, memories.
No worries.
Yeah. Oh, those fries look so good, and they're all fresh cut right from that potato was literally cut into those fries seconds ago. and deep fried, and you have just picked them up. That's what I love, like when you see them cutting those things with those big potato cutters and just dropping them in there as you order them. God, I love it. I miss In-N-Out. I wish we had them here. I really do.
Yeah, Five Guys does that too to an extent. I don't think they're quite that fresh, but I know
Yeah, they
they
make theirs.
basically just get like bags of potatoes and make them in the house.
Yeah, they'll cut them all day. I don't know if they do it right to order, but
That's what I like to
pretty
think.
fresh.
I just like to think that the ones I'm seeing them cut is the ones that are going into my mouth minutes later. Sweet and Titter says, "Will we ever see a Geeks with Eats series?" Asking for a friend. I think that'd be awesome. I'd love to join that series. Rachel Zach says Nick will be pulled over. Just wait.
Hey, I'm not the one
has
driving.
an-
My wife is driving. And she steals half my fries.
One is incandescent lighting, and the other gets to wear sleeves. Yeah, that was our thing. That was we wanted either. I got the light that makes.
I drew the short straw.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's in Chuck's contract that he's not allowed to have sleeves.
This is Nick picking up pizza. No, In and Out apparently. Yeah, I'm not allowed to have sleeves. That's the whole my whole contract says that, my shill contract. I moved to California. I bet you love it there. I used to live there, man. I lived there for about almost 7 years, and I was just out there visiting a couple people. And I didn't eat In and Out when I was there, but I ate a ton of different crazy stuff I used to eat out there, like the Mexican places and authentic tacos, and it was so good, so good. Price of Gaming says eating good in the neighborhood. Yes. Panda Sub says on Halloween, I think Nick should be eating a human hand or something. Geeks with concerning food fetishes. What?
He just stole the man's costume.
Like he's trying every joke tonight, and I think they've all like fallen flat. So it's
what is with Panda? You usually have it. You're always on the spot with this. Are you sick? What's going on, man? In and Out, it's only work if you pull out in time, says Darkside. Nick is stubborn and is refusing to start a mukbang channel, and he's depriving us. I told you I wanted to try one of those. Those were supposed to be like a bean pie or something like that. I will starve without that content. I love that. Oh, and then we lose. Oh, there he is. He's back. At the original Next Level says he's at the grocery store. Need anything while I'm there? Yeah, I'll take a 6-pack of Pacificos and a case of water. Oops, I think you're muted, Nick, or something's not coming through. Mickey Phantom lives down the street from. Oh man, from an In and Out. That's awesome, man. Super. Wow, the chat's still going. Super Mega Graphics 64 says I noticed one of the cats.
Super Mega Graphics.
There you go. Named Assassin Kitty. I need to know more about its character. Is it a paid assassin, like a rogue or Ronin out for revenge? Is it paid in catnip? I need details, sir. And we're supposed to find this out. Like, I need to know this. I want the documentary of Catfighter, which I'm sure is coming soon.
It's a full-on John Wick style AAA movie coming to theaters, not near you.
Oh, pack of frozen White Castles. I had to jump back on the diet, so I've literally the worst thing I've been eating is sushi, which to me is pretty fairly healthy. Like, the way I've been eating, like it's small pieces and small, and but I'm still I'm back to like my shakes and everything, dude. I must have put on another 15 pounds in the past few months just from like the vacation and eating and just going, I don't care. And
yeah, actually, when you're out and eating on the road, you can't stick to a diet when you're traveling. It's too hard.
Yes, it is. Speaking of not too hard, I don't know. That was a terrible segue. By the way, our chat poll, let me check in, was the greatest. Oh, why does it ever show
the greatest landslide in the history of Amico Forever polls?
And I can't. How do I pull it up as the person that made it? It seems like it's impossible. Oh, I guess I just move up the screen a little bit. Oh my God, you're right. Punch Out with a reigning 88%. There's 3% for each Buster Douglas and Evander Holyfield, and Ring King at
King is at 6%.
It's 6% second place. I like Ring King. Like that was actually the first one I really liked before I got into, and then I played Punch Out, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, there's no comparison there. We're gonna need some alt accounts just so like we don't get some death threats from like, I don't know, somebody.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I made a positive Amico video today, and I'm sure people are just gonna be raining down the thunder, the thunder, the lightning, and the lava. There's no contest.
Positive
there.
Amico video. What? Who does that?
Yeah,
Why?
how
What?
dare I? How dare I? Ring King was underrated. I used to love giving
Ring
people
King was
the
a lot of fun.
uppercut.
Yeah.
The ring. At one point, I think I still have the actual arcade board. I just don't have it in a cabinet anymore because I pulled it and sold the cabinet. But I still have the board, so I can make it again. I wouldn't mind actually hooking that back up again. You play it for a bit and then you kind of get tired of it, just like any game, But it's a childhood memory of mine for sure.
And it's so similar to what most boxing games of the era were. I mean, you either had the overhead perspective or the side to side perspective, and then Punch Out came and sort of changed the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, Punch Out to me was more about you were head on with a boxer making those moves. It was, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously it was cartoons, but it was still more similar. It was more similar to a real boxing where you're facing your opponent and learning their moves and looking out for things they do to do your ducking or your moving and your counter punching, counter punch type thing.
Yeah.
It was more, I don't want to say call it like it was a simulator or anything like that, but it was, I don't know. To me, it was just the ultimate boxing game. To me, I still think it is.
Well, you had learns to move. You had special cues that every character was going to give for their when they're going to do their heavy hit or when they're going to be vulnerable. So there's a puzzle element involved, and you figure the NES and less so the arcade, but for the NES, that target demographic was 6 to 12-year-old boys. So I don't know how many younger pre-adolescent boys were really into boxing at the time. I mean, preteens and teens, you start to see a lot of kids get interested in boxing, but younger kids, I think it's kind of a little bit more of a distant sport for them. So Punch Out, I think, resonated in ways that most of those others just did not. Not that they're bad games, it's just, Punch Out had crossover appeal.
It did, and I wasn't even I used to watch boxing like Mike Tyson, especially with my dad, like on HBO and stuff like that, and watch him, killing it. But even as I wasn't a huge boxing fan, but I would do that. But playing that game, it was just such a fun game, whether you were a fan or not. Just the characters just stuck with you. Yeah. And then after seeing it ported to NES, going, wow, they did a good job, and these same characters are looking fairly decent for what they could. Yeah, Dan Ruff says it was better than that arm wrestling game. We can get into that too. I recently played that. Chuck is just the name of Charlie canceled and replaced. There you go. Rocky and on ColecoVision gets no love. Everybody's talking about Rocky Super Action Boxing. See, I never had ColecoVision, so I'm not sure. I know of it. Oh, Rocky on Master System's pretty terrible. Super Mega Graphics 64. I can't do it. Rev, have you always had that collection? I do not remember this. Wow.
I put up the shelves, I think, middle of 2021. Maybe early 2021.
Original Zach says, geeks with traffic violations. I was in the WWE games before No Mercy changed everything in your house and Raw. I used to love Warzone, and then but for N64, WrestleMania 2000, I just love the whole design your entrance. It was kind of those first build your own wrestler kind of thing, and I thought that was one of my favorites that always sticks in my head. But Warzone was another one, which I think was on PlayStation, I think. But yeah, the wrestling games are good. But I was just going to talk, and I guess I'm sure Nick will pop in soon. He's probably finishing his burger, then he'll get on his computer. Because obviously we're the only thing that matters, and that's all that he thinks about, right? He only thinks about us and how he can get to the show.
If he knew what was good for him. Yeah.
No, I put out a video earlier, and you guys can check it out. I was just kind of showing where I stand with the channel, and then I kind of mentioned the show a little bit, which that's why I kind of wanted to talk to these guys and kind of them and I was kind of saying that I have pure confidence this thing's happening. Do I think it's going to be this year? I don't know, and I don't know if I know a lot of people like to misquote or say that I said this or said this, and I know there's a couple of people going, we still haven't heard anything. I'm like, I didn't expect anything till middle or end of this month. It would have been awesome if we heard in the next week or two, but I know they're still working. They're still working hard, and they're going to get these production units out, and those will be popping up. As far as people saying that will they be shipping out in the next couple of months, I don't see that. I hate to say, and if it happens, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I misled you, but I don't see any manufacturing. Because the last time I think we talked manufacturing on quite a few shows ago, doesn't that process take months? Like after, and then you got to run a test run, and then you got to do that, and then finalize. And I know these are final units as well that are coming, but before you go to mass, you even got to test your mass production and make sure those came out okay.
Well,
we're talking months, so I wouldn't see anything I couldn't even see anything at the holidays if they're going to do it quality. But if not, I could be wrong. I don't know. And then what do you think? That's what I was going to ask.
I'd agree. I mean, we're kind of in this situation where, Intellivision thought they were ready to go, or at least they said they were ready to go, at the end of last year. And that didn't go through for whatever reason, whether the funding wasn't there. They had a problem with the production. We don't know. They haven't said why, they didn't follow through with the pre-production. And then you had Phil Adams send that email at the beginning, the 8th or 9th of June, that they were going into pre-production with a handful of units to see that they have everything worked out, the kinks worked out, those first units, out before they go into full production. You never start a production without getting that in place first to make sure you're not making the mistake of, running 1,000 units that all have a flaw and you have to go back and manually correct them or replace them or whatever. Other companies had to go through that, and it is a costly process, and Intellivision doesn't have the money to kind of cover those flaws. I don't know what their timeline is right now, what they're looking to get out. I think if they were to go into production this month, they would really be stretching to get stuff out by holiday. So I don't know if we're going to make holiday. I don't think it's likely. I would think when they have started that full production, they would have some sort of announcement of that. So the fact we haven't heard anything leads me to believe that either they've went into pre-production of those units and they are fixing the flaws that they found. They've come into some unexpected problem with that production process, or there's still a funding issue that they thought they had solved and they're trying to iron it out. And I don't think they're going to say like, hey, we have this problem and we're waiting to resolve it. They've gotten in trouble for saying too much, so now they say too little, and that's getting them in trouble as well. But it is something I think that they are more prepared to handle, is to be quiet, get it right, go into production, and say when they've gone into production. And the fact that we haven't heard anything, I just think just means we're not there yet. I don't think holiday is likely. I don't think it's off the table, but I don't think it's likely either.
Yeah, I guess it just takes time. As long as we get I think a lot of people just want to know, hey, we just want to get an announcement. Hey, this is happening.
Yes.
I think that, and oh my God, I'd be blown away by that, knowing that going into the next year that's happening, and it's finally happening. We're finally getting these. To me. And Sweet and Tender, no one's really told you. I'm just going by all the info that they put out. And like I said, I think a couple shows ago, I did reach out to Phil, and he assured exactly what he was saying in his emails, that they're trying to, license out some IPs. They're trying to get some of their classic stuff out there. They're trying to answer the refund stuff. They're trying to put out the console, and they are 100% moving forward with this and to make this come out. But as far as people telling me, it's not like I can reach out every day. That's I'm going by the stuff that was said in the emails to investors and customers and on the Amico Club page. I'm just kind of reiterating all that stuff when I do answer these questions, because it's the only info I have.
And I want to reiterate, it is not just Intellivision. They do have investors. They do have investors that have a say in what direction the company is taking, that they have to respond to. And they have creditors as well that they need to respond to as well. So if the creditors are thinking they're not doing anything and they're folding, they're going to be coming after them. The fact that they are still afloat tells me that their creditors and their investors are still on board with what they're doing now. Have they changed the plans from what they were when we last heard Tommy talking about everything coming, at the end of 2021? It's kind of the last when we were still in good communication with Intellivision and hearing what their plans were. I doubt it, just based on, the facts on the ground have changed so much. I think there's going to be a lot of changes that come through.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are not, filing Chapter 7 right now to liquidate and save themselves, the fact that they're not going into, or even Chapter 11 to restructure and try to restructure that credit, the fact that they are not at that point now tells me they are still going forward, and the people behind the scenes, the creditors, the investors, are still on board with what's going on with Intellivision. And that is, I think, why part of the reason why I have some faith in this. The other reason is I've seen a lot of companies that have emerged from near misses as a startup, as a company trying to put something out. This was not easy for any of these companies in the field. Atari, Nolan Bushnell was taken out taken out by his team of his C-suite execs, took him out to took him out of the office because he was so emotional about how the company was nearly going to go under. They managed to find funding. They didn't think they were going to find funding. I know, Sierra Online was on the verge of bankruptcy. I mean, they had to lay off their entire team, just about their entire team. I think they left 10 people on. They had to close their offices, their new offices, just because they were killed by the conditions of the time. Activision famously went through bankruptcy. So there's a lot of companies that will struggle to get through a moment like this. Does that mean Intellivision is going to make it? I don't know. It's not necessarily likely, but there is a decent chance. And as long as things are still in motion,
man. Yeah.
I'll still stay here and wait and see how they do.
I just want to address this really quick, and it's a lot of people are seeing this, and this I kind of mentioned this in my video. Amazing, you guys are still on board. What is it like to know that it's finished? Their office is closed. It's over. And that's really the narrative on there. So we talked about this, I don't know, a few months back, and I want to just go over this really quick. We were told this, and people even brought it up as why are they spending so much money in offices if they have a console ready to go into production? Why are they spending money? And they kind of looked at that, and they know they were struggling, and they made the decision to cut staff and to get rid of the two big offices and work out of either virtual or out of a smaller office. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, these YouTube channels are showing these empty offices going, oh my God, look, they're out of business. They're done. No, we talked about this, but no one paid attention. I don't, they already said they were doing that. They don't need these big offices because things have changed. It wasn't like it was 2 to 3 years ago when they were, when they had 50 employees there and they're all trying to still work on a console. They told us this before it was going to happen. We knew that. And I think people are getting the information now like it happened yesterday. Oh my God, look they're cleared out and they're out of business. It's no, they said they were moving out of that to work virtually and smaller things. So it wouldn't cost them so much overhead, and to keep the employees that are working currently. So I just want to put that out there. And I know there's 100 channels reporting that they're dead and they're out of business, but no one's really looking at the real news. So it's just old news that we already knew.
Well, you're always going to have a lot of delay between the big channels getting news and kind of going with what they're seeing and what the likelihood is and what they know, which I don't think they know the details. I mean, they're not talking to the company like some other, journalists might be talking to the company to find out what's going on behind the scenes. They're just sort of reading the tea leaves and reading what's going on and kind of deducing that, okay, they're going under because they're closed their offices. But like I said, with Sierra Online, they closed their offices. They laid off almost their entire staff. Then they turned around and they put out King's Quest and Police Quest and Leisure Suit Larry. I mean, you have to get through that hurdle of making it and putting something out and finding a way to survive, or you fold. And right now they're trying to find a way to survive. They're trying to cut costs. No, they don't have that big office in California right now. It was a costly overhead. They probably should have closed it down sooner. They probably should have laid off staff a little sooner, but those are hard things to do. Nobody ever wants to contract and lay off the people that are making the system and making your games. It's a very difficult decision and a very difficult place to be in, but they're fighting. They're trying to, put this thing out, and they're trying to get over the last hurdle of getting it into production by any which way. And we'll see if they can do it.
Cameron Hayes says, when's your guess when you think the first production units will ship? I kind of already tackled that, what I think. I think if at the latest, it would be after the holiday, or unless something miraculous happens, and it happens before. Once again, don't listen to me. I'm stupid. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on it if everything goes to as planned with? Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Production units will ship, not the. Are you talking the final production or these first 20 plus units that are getting shipped out? I'm thinking those ones would be within a month or so, or sometime this month, I guess, from what the email was kind of saying.
I'm confused. What's the
Yeah,
production units
unless
that
you're
Phil
talking about
referenced?
final production, then I'm not thinking till either the holidays or like first of the year, like when everything ships to every. But as far as these production units, probably very soon. I would that's my opinion. I don't. You guys can go ahead and elaborate.
Oh, I think the earliest we'll see anything go to be towards the tail end of this year if they can get something out this year. It's too late in the year unless they were already producing them, like just behind the scenes and not telling anybody to get anything out soon, right? So you're looking at like November, December to get anything out at this point, I would think. And then you wouldn't see like a big bulk of them until sometime next year, would be my guess, personally.
Yeah.
But I don't really know anything either, so.
I don't either. I don't know how many they're going to produce here in North America before switching over to China. You can't produce that sort of quantity here in the US. They won't have the money, but they're not going to do a small order in China. It's going to be too costly to, work through the kinks as well through the production. So the initial production is being done here. Where is that going to stop? How many units are they going to get out? Is that going to be 500? Is that going to be 1,000? I don't know. But that I think is going to be, we have to wait for Intellivision to say kind of what their plan is on getting those units out. Like I've said before with the Atari, they went to a raffle where people were getting their units on an early shipment, and then people were getting it in a second or third phase. I have a feeling it's probably going to go like that because money is so tight, but I don't know.
As far as I know, Mr. Black Shoes, I was trying to. There's a bunch of questions, but I know we're kind of trying to kind of blast through this chat because it's going nuts. We have over 70 some people and it's jumping around right now. Mr. Black Shoes, thanks for coming back. Yes, but what do I think that they could have done different so they wouldn't have got to where they are? Kind of is what you're asking. Is I don't know. I guess in hindsight, I guess they didn't really. I think maybe they were confident in they would get through this pandemic, and I think that hurt them not having maybe prepared for that. But that's with every company that happened to, and I think that was the start. Maybe sharing. I think they shared almost everything with everyone, which I think was awesome as a fan. But it also opened them up to be attacked. I think a lot. Even just for people at the beginning that were just hating it for just because they wanted to hate it. Not even for legitimacy of the console or anything, just to hate and calling threats and just stupid stuff, man. But I think they should have been more tight-lipped. I think they should have been more silent and basically didn't announce anything till it was actually happening. That's should have, would have done. It's already happened. So yeah. I think it happened the way it was going to happen. And I just think that's just how it is, unfortunately. I think they're trying to bounce back from that. They have absolutely struggled, but I think they're in at a point now where we're going to see something. And this is it. And I'm gonna absolutely have confidence in it until someone from the company comes out and says, "Listen, we tried and it's done." And I'll be like, you know what? That really sucks because there's tons of people that are going to be disappointed, not get the console that they wanted, and be out, the stuff they spent on, whether it be merchandise, hat. I'm one of them. Games. I want to play the games.
To kind of build on this a little bit, but there's a lot of factors that went into a whole lot of mess. And you guys can say, well, everybody else is recovered. And I'm going to call you a straight up liar at this point. Because you're looking at PlayStation potentially raising costs of consoles. You're looking at the Series consoles potentially going up in price. The Quest is going up in price. You're looking at inflation happening now because they weren't really sure what was going on with the economy.
You're looking at the Switch OLED with limited upgrades.
Right. The Switch LED has limited range on it. Everybody's still feeling this. Supply chain issues for everything, logistics for everything is still having problems across the board. And everybody's feeling it. so you can say, well, they should have been more prepared, but nobody was prepared for what hit. No one was prepared for what hit. Period. End of story.
You
can say the Playdate got out, but the Playdate's still not getting out the numbers that they really want to get out. Blaze has done okay throughout all this, but they do much smaller runs as well. But they've done pretty solid. They managed to weather this pretty well. But most companies have really struggled in one way or another, and we're starting to see prices climb up because they still want to make the profit margin. So this was kind of an unprecedented scenario for the world as a whole, for all companies, period, end of story. And you can go back and say they should have done this and they should have done that. But hindsight is always 20/20 because you've already seen the outcome of what the hell happened. When you're there and you're trying to deal with it, that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
And some people had the finances to be able to handle it and had a little bit more comprehensive feel for what was happening, and others didn't. And it's been a lot of people.
Especially like we see another Amico price increase. What was the new price? Like 300 something?
I think it was $329 or $339.99 for the system with 2 controllers, or I think it was $289 or
for 2 control
$279
for
with the 1 controller.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. Did those come with the 6 games?
Yes, there's no differentiation between the games. It's just the controller model.
Yeah, as far as these, I don't know about retail. I don't think it would go up to that much in retail. I just couldn't see them competing. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
And like I said, with the investors and the creditors, if Intellivision is changing its strategy and upping the price like that, that is something that they're going to be talking with their investors about, whether or not, because they invested with the fact that this would be an affordable console, and they've already made, pricing is strategic. For them to go out and say it's going to be $400, which would be, as much as, a PlayStation 5, if you can, when you order one.
Is that how much they are now? Wow, I thought they were didn't they
$399
like 500 something, or I'm thinking maybe
it depends on the model you get. The discless model is $399.
Okay.
The one with a CD drive is $499.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference between those two is the disc drive. Now the Series S and Series X is a completely different beast, because I want to say the X is like 400 and the S is like 300, but they have different specs, right? One is discless and has a little bit lower spec. It's still on that borderline of it's not quite 4K, it's more 2K resolution, whereas the X is 4K resolution max.
You're gonna have someone from Intellivision putting the ones on eBay just to get those ridiculous prices up.
Speaking of things being up, I don't know if that was a terrible transition again. We have the best boxing game of all time chat poll going on. So far, only 61 votes in, but boy, is it a landslide. We have Punch-Out, Buster Douglas Knockout, Evander Holyfield Real Deal Boxing, and Ring King. Punch-Out at a whopping 77%. Ring King at 18%. A little bit of love for Ring King. That's good, as it should be. Buster Douglas and Evander Holyfield at barely nothing.
Dan Smith, if you want to get a Xbox or PlayStation, all that, honestly, if you want to buy a console, I recommend you get it now. The cost is going to go up. I almost promise you. I think the PS5 is going to go up in cost. I think the Series X and Series S are eventually going to creep up in cost if things continue the way they are. And the Quest is already going up. So if you're interested in a standalone VR handset, get it now. Don't wait. Get them now. Because I suspect the cost is going to go up, at least for a little while. It'll eventually come back down, obviously. But right now, you're going to look at an unprecedented stint in gaming where you're going to see, during a console's lifespan, the price go up instead of down, which is bizarre.
You're still talking PlayStation, right?
Well, Dan Smith said
or Xbox.
The price was already expensive as it was. People are better off getting the Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch. And I'm recommending that if you're going to do that, you go ahead and do that. You don't wait on it. You don't sleep on it.
Right now, if you want a PS5 or an Xbox, I heard they might go up like a decent amount. I think everything is, and that's kind of why Amico was kind of forced to as well. Dorkside said the investors did they talk to investors before raising the prices recently? Just curious. Yeah, they sent out emails and
it's more than
and
emails.
it's on their.
When they're talking to investors, I mean, the investors that are investing, $60,000, $200,000 into the company, that's separate from like your FIG investors or, the rest of us who have maybe gone in on some of these other.
Yeah, I did the, what was it, Republic
crowdsourced investments. That's where you're investing in the profit shares. Yeah. You're not privy to that information as someone who's.
I am not privy to that. I'm going to go use the privy.
Yeah, profit shares are not the same as owning shares of the company.
That's correct.
Yeah, I want it all too, Big Block. I like I have an Xbox, I have a Switch, I still want an Amico.
Yeah, I don't have a Series X right now. I'm still holding out, hoping I'll find one of those in a while. And I just don't want to pay the premium on it right now. I don't want to pay $600-700 to get one online right now.
Harry
that's kind of what they're running on the secondhand market.
Welcome back, Harry Pizza. That is a lot of hair on that pizza, by the way. But thank you for bringing in the toppings and the slicings. The chat is bouncing all over the place. Like YouTube's just awesome like that. Once it goes over 70 or 60 or whatever we're at. So sorry about that. Just another viewer says, have you guys played Savage Fever or Gun Devil?
I have not.
I have not. What is it? Are any of those shooters or like not first person, but like actual shooters, like old school shooters?
They sound like puzzle games. I don't know. I'm not familiar with either of those titles.
Harry. Darn it. Chat just keeps jumping all over the place. I'm trying to get. Just don't give me no sauce. Dude, I got that in that pizza with no sauce. Yeah, just give me cheese. And usually I always say double sauce. I'm like, but sometimes I don't know how heavy a pizza place is on sauce. So I'm like, but if I like them, I usually say double sauce. Or I'll do double cheese, double sauce. But I go, give me cheese, pepperoni, mushroom, and traditional crust, and ship her out. And of course they were like, well, he didn't say sauce because that's how we do things in Oklahoma. So I got a sauceless pizza.
I was going to say, what happens if you say double sauce in Oklahoma? You just get sauce?
That's what I was wondering. What if I said nothing, didn't even mention cheese, which is like a thing that you, but it's just always been a thing. You always go, yeah, why, cheese, blah, blah, blah. I always say cheese first. Like I guess it's just natural to order a pizza like that. But yeah, that would be weird. What if I was just like,
I've never thought about having to tell people I want cheese or sauce on my pizza. Like that's never entered into my mind. Those are just two base ingredients. Now, if I want extra cheese or something like that, that's separate. But I've never been to a place where if you don't ask for those things, you're like, okay, well, you don't want them.
Anchovies and salami. Salami's awesome. Anchovies, though, I don't mind. I get like on a kick of those. And I used to love it. It was great because I go out to the bar and now I eat a lot better. But I used to go and get like a medium pizza for myself, and then I know I'd take some home or sometimes I eat it, throughout the night or whatever. But I would order a pizza. People would always pick at my pizza. Oh, let me get a pizza. They never want it. And then they were like, oh, let me just get a pizza. So what I would do is I get half of it with anchovies and everybody's like, oh, that stinks up the whole pizza. No, thanks. And I'm like, yeah. So that was because I don't mind anchovies at all. As a matter of fact, I'm on a kick sometimes and I'll get them constantly. And then, then I'll be over them for a bit. But anytime I want no one to touch my pizza, I'll just get a little bit of anchovies on them. And then they're like, nope.
I used to work at Pizza Hut. I could not stand putting anchovies on pizza. It was like the grossest thing texturally to like try to put on a pizza. It was just unpleasant putting them on them. I'm like, and then even when it came out of the oven, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get why people like this.
I bet you do have some special sauces. No, thank you, Harry Pizza. No, thank you. You keep your sauces to yourself, sir. Is anyone getting the Sega Genesis Mini 2? I was thinking about it because it had some other games other than that. I think it had Master System stuff on there and some Sega CD stuff and 32X, I thought. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure. It's
a little more focused on the Sega CD. I saw something on it the other day. It looks pretty promising. I'm kind of curious to get one. They've got a few titles there that I was kind of looking at going, I've never played those, and I don't know if I might even get a Japanese version because some of those, I'm not even sure if they were localized, and they looked really fun. So
I don't know. I may get one, but I may wait on it. I don't feel too pressured to go out and get one. I know the regular Genesis Minis sat on shelves for quite a while.
I think you can still find them.
Yeah.
Mr. Black Shoes, you wait till 2024 to no. I think it's do or die right now for them. No, I'm not going to wait till 2024. I mean, if I had to, I guess I would.
Yeah, I'd wait to
Would I be
2024.
happy
I'm
about
not
it?
going to
No.
recommend anyone else. I mean,
No.
you know, I
I'm a hardcore guy. I'll play other things until this thing comes out. But as far as the way, if they're going to do it and be successful at it, yeah, it has to be this coming year or this holiday or this coming new year. Like this is it here.
Yeah.
Just my opinion though. But yeah, good question.
If the delay is just financial, why they can't do it now, then they're not going to do themselves any favor waiting another year and 4 months. So yeah, it's got to be sooner than that.
Oh, chain pizza does. You got to get either a mom and pop, like one that either has just one location, or at least in my area, or get someone like Detroit is. They have some good deep dish. There's a couple thin crust and traditional pizzas that are good here at some like small like family owned places, but like the chains like Jets and Buddy's Pizza out here, they make the best deep dish and it's friggin' amazing. And and then you have these other pizza chains that even in Detroit, because they're national, they'll be like, this is Detroit deep dish. I'm like, dude, no, it's not. Not even close. Like, go away. Stop it, Domino's. Just go away. But yeah, no. Anyway, I love how this turned into pizza. It's we're talking like PlayStation and pizza. We're in the peas. We'll move on to
eventually we'll get on to fried chicken and the KFC console will come.
Oh, absolutely. The anchovy hack. Oh yeah, you're right. That was my anchovy hack. Yeah, I get it now. I'm like, what? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here, guys. It's kind of bouncing around, kind of weird. Some pizza gets my stomach easy, and Papa John. I guess you're saying Papa John's. I don't know. I'm not a really big fan of them. I never, to be honest, I don't think I've ever tried Domino's either. That was one that I just never had growing up. Ours, unfortunately, now it's not as good as it used to be. Was Little Caesars, but now they're all just hot and ready's, for $5 or $6 now. Back in the day when you could order a Little Caesars, and I'm talking about like the early 80s, when they made them fresh and with different and better ingredients. Now everything's kind of processed, ready to go, $5 pizza. It's not as, I don't like it anymore. But back when they made them fresh, like I liked that. But there was a place called Buddy's Pizza that was probably the best. But like I said, now it's either Jets is probably my favorite as far as franchises because it's a Detroit thing, But yep. Ooh. Anchovies are good if you like salty food. You would go with double tomato sauce. Oh, I love double sauce on. There's a place called Paparoni's that's right up the street here. And they have one location. I think they tried having one more, but anyways, family-owned place, local. It's been there for I don't know, almost 20 some years. And I always get double cheese, double sauce, round, traditional, which theirs is fairly thin. Just everything about it, the sauce, the aroma, the cheese, their toppings, they're just it's a beautiful pizza. Better than most chains, to be honest. Would any of you be upset with Tommy if nothing comes from this? No, I think he wants this more than anyone, to be honest. I wouldn't. I think he'd be upset. He'd be more upset if this didn't come out, man.
Yeah. He's
put everything in his life into this. And you gotta remember he's still the owner of this company, he tends to lose the most to me, everything he's worked for, and there's no one that wants this more than him. So no, I wouldn't be.
Let me put it this way. I went into this knowing this was a startup company. I went into this knowing that full bore, that nothing may come of this ever. There's always a possibility.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It was always a possibility. And going in knowing that, no, it does not bother me if nothing ever comes of this. I'm not going to think less of Tommy because he went and he tried to do something. And was it a little more than he bargained for? Oh yeah. I don't think until you start trying to bring something out like a console or an electronics product that you understand the scope of what you're trying to do, right? It's kind of one of those things. Like if you have tons of money, like when Microsoft got into the game, they could overcome all that because they had the finances.
And they were still near their breaking point at a number of times.
Right.
They were almost
but they got it out. And it's
Yeah.
been a very good product for them, especially this generation. They're pretty much leading the market right now.
Yeah.
Which
And you
nobody
consider-
saw coming.
I just want to
was
shout out StashNet really quick. Yes, I've seen the Loverboy movie. One of my favorite things in the world was extra anchovies. I'm on it. It was so great. Sorry, go ahead. Throwing a little more pizza stuff in between you guys is talking. Sorry. Go.
Oh, absolutely. I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. It was the Loverboy thing. Damn it, Chuck. No, talking about if you would be upset if it didn't come out, at Tommy and television and blah 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 blah. That was the question that you guys were answering.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like Nick said, I think there's no understanding how difficult something like this can be, and all of those breakpoints and all the places where something can go wrong and where it has gone wrong. If this never comes out, I don't really see it as a failure. The worst. The worst. Someone mentioned Steve Jobs earlier. The worst thing is having not tried. Having an idea and not chasing it. Having tried to put out something where you think there is an opportunity and not having gone after it is I think a regret you live with for the rest of your days. So I can see the passion that goes into something like this, and I can see where you're going to pour all of your efforts into trying to get this off the ground. And if it doesn't work out, it is very sad on a personal note. For the people who have invested their time and their trust in something like this, and things fall apart, things fail. That is not anything that's new to any of us. I think we all understand that you try to put something out in the world and it doesn't always work. If it comes to the point where they have to close shop and they don't think they'll be able to put out anything, then yes, it will be very, very sad. But I don't hold them against it for trying. I'm of the mindset the Teddy Roosevelt had a quote, the man in the arena, where he was like, it's I'd rather be the person. I'd rather be on the side of someone that tried and failed than to be in the crowd sneering at somebody who's trying and fail and will never know the difference between, victory and defeat. They only know to sit in the crowd and mock others who are trying to put something out and trying to, make something in the world. I think it's a lofty cause. I think there is a lot of problems and issues we have in gaming that are not addressed. And I think there is a lot of blind side that we have as gamers in the gaming world. And there is something to be said for the fact that everybody has a phone. And yes, everybody plays games on a phone, but the fact that you play games on a phone, you don't look forward to playing games on a phone. You pull them out because you're bored. So yes, casual gamers can play games on a phone because they're bored, and they play games and they have an uncurated library to look through and try to find something through a bunch of garbage and DLC, pay to win sort of mechanics and stuff that is thrown their way. It would be nice to have something that is specifically targeted and marketed with that sort of consumer in mind. And PlayStation isn't going after that audience. Microsoft isn't going after that audience. Nintendo is not going after that audience. They are going after the existing audience they have. Nintendo put out a report that said, here's our audience, and they had a graph, and they don't put out the numbers, but you can kind of make out what the numbers are based on how many people have a Switch account. And the numbers of like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds who are playing a Switch is like 4% of total Switch owners. It is something very small. So that audience is possibly there, and we're like, no, they just want to play on an iPad, they just want to play on a phone. I think that's because a lot of these companies have seeded the market and they're not going after those sorts of markets. I hear the same thing in the toy collecting community, that like, oh, kids don't want to play with action figures. My kids love playing with Legos, love playing with action figures, love playing with toys. Yes, they love playing on an iPad, but the problem is you go to a toy store and you want to buy an action figure, it's all geared towards collectors. It's all that market collapsed because these toy companies put out stuff just for collectors, and they stopped looking at what sort of things would interest kids and how do you make this affordable for families to be able to buy it. They took their eye off the ball, and that collapsed at the same time that toy stores were collapsing. So that market just sort of imploded. And I think video games, while they're immensely popular and immensely out there and there's more people from different demographics playing games than ever before, they're not necessarily being marketed and being geared and created with those audiences in mind, thoughtfully and purposefully. So I think there's a place for something like this. Will Amico succeed? I don't know, but I think it's worth pushing that and trying to do that. And I'll get off my soapbox now.
Well, I think part of this too is the Switch itself was really trying to market towards the young adult crowd starting to enter in the workforce, right? Because they've always been the kid-friendly console, but when you look at the early advertisements for the Switch, they weren't really aiming it at kids. They were aiming it for people that want to play a game at home. They want to attach their Joy-Cons to the console, pick it up, take it over to a friend's house, have a drink and hand a Joy-Con to somebody, and they can play it and they can move around with it, or they can take it on a train or whatever while they're mobile.
Hipsters on rooftops,
right?
For the first year and a half.
That's been their big marketing push on that from the jump, pretty much.
Now it's changed.
I think they pretty much considered themselves to have the younger generation market. That's just always been their market. So they wanted a different market to be interested in this console. So that's how they marketed it. So I think those numbers kind of show in the people that you have using it, right? Because people saw it, they saw the mobility of it, and they went, that's great for my lifestyle, but you don't see as many little kids messing with it as a result, because it's a lot of times not even docked, or it doesn't have a dock, because people are buying the light versions instead, right? Which are more of a single experience.
So I just want to, there was a lot of chats flashing by here. I know someone asked, Mr. Blackshear says, could Intellivision still make Amico successful console, or is it about getting it out? I think yes, and right now it's just about getting it out to start them off again, and as far as someone asked earlier too, hold on, I'll get
you have to walk before you run, and they need to be more than just like propping up, Weekend at Bernie's. They have to show movement and life, so they need to get there first.
And another thing was, if I seen, and I kind of addressed this, and I know a lot of people aren't in the chat when I say this stuff, but in Boston, I did see a game be purchased and downloaded to the system, the store. I mean, it was obviously at $0. There wasn't a credit card transaction. Yeah, there wasn't a credit, but the store is running. The back end store is up and running, so I can buy a game. The only thing I have not seen work in person is these box games being tapped on the console, which I hope when they come out with these units that maybe we see that for these when these new units come out. But that's the only thing I haven't seen. Other than that, the store and everything's open, and it works. It's just a matter of actually going to pay money to get new games on there. But yeah, as far as is it working, I saw it work, so I know. And then we had the biggest question of all, which was from Super Mega Graphics 64, dessert pizzas. What's the real question about that? And I say, hey, there's a place called Godfather's Pizza that makes like an apple strudel dessert pizza, which is absolutely delicious.
Those still exist?
Oh yeah, man! I've seen them still traveling across the country. They have Godfather's Pizza still.
Wow, I've not seen one of those since I was a kid.
Pizza. They had a cinnamon roll pizza. They had a cream strudel. They had everything. Strawberry strudel pizza. And I've had them before. I haven't had them in years, but I just saw them. They're still at some of the pilot centers and some of the Love's travel stops. They still have Godfather's pizzas in there. And they are delicious. And that is thank you for asking that, Super Mega Graphics 64.
The winning question of the evening.
It was the winning question of the evening. Sorry, I just went through.
I find it funny that I went for burgers and somehow we ended up on pizza tonight.
So the Amico's prime for young kings in the older generation and those with physical disabilities. Absolutely, man, and disabilities. And that's another thing is I don't
and developmental disabilities.
Yeah, I think there's that as well. Yeah, there's so many other uses for that, and I know we keep saying, oh, we haven't seen the market yet, but I think that's what we really will when it hits to ship stuff and when people get it in their hands, how they're going to use it. I think a lot of people think it's like trying to compete, and I really don't think it is. I just think it's something different and not so much niche, but more. It's just its own thing, man, and it's just a cool little box, man. I just think it's cool. I think it's a cool little thing that is simple, and like I think more families and groups of people. And I know Rab's talking about, like, he has so many ideas on what this is great for, and he said many times, and I kind of reiterate on my side. I have my family just loves to compete on stuff, play anything. This is a great family party console, but also I go out to the bars and hang out with everybody that loves to compete all these games and in shuffleboard and in Golden Tee and Silver Strike and Bet Money and Keno and all, them, they're going to treat this like a buzz time type of box, and it's going to have these games that everybody can grab and gravitate because they all know how to use a phone. And I think that's what I think is so different about this is it's basically like everybody's so familiar with this, and this is very similar to their controller. So it kind of gravitates to both the old school gaming person, the person that's very casual or doesn't like gaming at all, and to everyone that has a phone. So that's how I see it. That's where I see the market. I don't see it as this gaming console.
It's very interesting, back when Atari Age was still kind of had an Amico thread, and it was pretty active, and there was a lot of daily back and forth with Tommy and some people from Intellivision chiming in from time to time, but it was mostly Tommy and the fan group there. I'd mentioned about something like the Amico being, there's so many places this could be a good fit for. One being something like airplane terminals or airport terminals. Nintendo a couple years ago announced that they were going to be putting in like a lounge for the Switch where people could come and relax, and you've got a couple Switch units set up and people could play their Switch, and it's sort of like a Nintendo red and white Switch themed lounge is what they were going for. Okay, that's nice. If you're into playing games, you can come in and play that. If you're kind of new and want to come in and play that, you've got a space that is specifically to play the Switch games. That's fantastic. But with something like an Amico, where the phone is the controller, you got people sitting around in an airport waiting for their planes, waiting for transfers. They're all watching garbage news on 56 televisions in the airport terminal. What if you had something like the Amico in airport terminals where people could just play with other people there, play with their family on, one of those 57 TVs you can hook in. You can just say that you want to play and it will switch over and you just start playing that game to kill time with other passengers. I mean, you have these multiplayer games, 8 people laughing and playing. You have 100 people that we saw, or 50 people we saw in Easton playing emoji charades. There's no reason why you couldn't have community-based games, communal social experiences that are in person, and the phone, instead of being the great distractor of our generation, everybody is stuck looking in their phones. The phone becomes your portal to playing with other people around you when you're in other situations. So you start thinking about that concept, and you start thinking about, okay, you have aircraft terminals or airport terminals. You have doctor's offices. You have fairs and festivals. You have block parties. You have a million different places where people can get together. Maybe they're just waiting to get called for their meal at a restaurant. A lot of companies back in the 70s, these arcade companies were putting their arcades in restaurants. And that's why we have like at pizza places, because you have to wait to play pizza. That's where the arcades took off. That was the initial motivation for, Pizza Time Theater and Chuck E. Cheese and all of those, because you have nothing else to do. You have 20 minutes to kill while you're waiting for your pizza to be made. So put an arcade in there. Well, instead of putting an arcade, everybody has a phone, or you've got some cheap iPads or something you can hand out to the kids, and they're not going to go anywhere because they're cheap $20 iPads.
Hook up to the Amico. Yeah, why not?
You've got TVs and diners and stuffs. Play Amico. It's a concept that is waiting to be adopted, and it's not something that PlayStation or Microsoft or Nintendo are going to do because their games are not intuitive to playing on a phone. Mobile games are very different from console games, and Amico is looking in that space. It's just an interesting space that can be occupied.
It's more towards the mobile market than it is the retro, even the retro gaming market or the gaming market in general. And I'm sorry, there's a bunch of chat questions I'm trying to get at, and I know we're probably going to be ending it soon. I can't believe we're over an hour. And
here's the way.
And by the way, Dan Smith, I don't think you're going to change NLG's. I kind of see it like you guys going back and forth. Just be civil, and I understand you guys are just having discussion and no one's being nasty, but I don't think you're going to change NLG's mind about the Amico, and I don't think NLG.
Yeah,
I don't think
nobody here is going to change your mind
So-
on a product, and you're not going to change
Yeah, we both
anybody
obviously
else's. I don't
what we
think.
like.
I think that ship's kind of sailed at this point.
Yeah.
But
as long
as
as
long as
everybody's
everybody's
being nice.
civil, we're totally fine listening and having the conversation.
Yeah.
To your
I
guys'
agree.
point, if something like the Playdate can come out and find a market,
Oh my
being
god,
as
that thing,
being as
right?
quirky and niche as it is, then this thing can find a
Sure.
market. Is it going to be the
Agreed.
market that it wants? I don't know, but I think it can find a market. If the VCS can have a bit of a market, which it does, it's not a huge market, but it's a market, then this thing can have a market. It's just that simple. Everybody's okay with those things existing, but they're not okay with this thing existing. And that's the confusing part for me is what does it matter? I mean, these things have found a market. They have a little place and people like them and people are finding them fun and they're enjoying them.
I say
Whether or
people
not you do
enjoy
or not.
something. Yeah, people enjoy something. Let them enjoy it, man. I personally don't really like the Playdate, but I'm not going to rip on people that like it. And I'll even watch some content and go, well, that's interesting. You know, like if people are going to like it, that's fine. You know, and if I understand if people don't like stuff, as far as
Jeff from
is
Go
the
Game Go
Amico.
is covering the Playdate. He loves it. It's an interesting.
He's
little
having a
concept.
blast with it. And there's a lot of developers that have stood up and started making content for it because it's reportedly very easy to make content for. So there's been a lot of stuff that's come out that isn't even part of the season pass that people are picking up on the thing. It's become kind of like an indie developer starter point in a lot of ways, which is great.
I can see the person that's like sitting at their desk, at their lunch hour, playing a few games, and then having lunch, and it's just kind of a thing. I'm not a big handheld guy, since the Nomad, I think, because it was a portable Genesis, yes. But like other than that, and like the Turbo Express, a portable turbo, but like having just a handheld with handheld games, I never had a Game Boy. I just never was into that. I'd rather it be plugged into a TV. I don't know. Guess I'm just weird. But anyways, and Dan, I had to put Dan Smith in timeout, guys. And I have nothing against Dan Smith. I just want everybody to stop it. I don't think anybody's going to change anyone's mind, and keep, screaming your opinion at someone. But anyways, yeah, just keep it civil, man. But I understand. I understand people that don't like it or doesn't, or absolutely love it. I think at this point in this console's life, it's funny it's been this long, right? I don't think we're changing anyone's mind, but if you'd like to,
no.
Pre-life, it's definitely gestation.
Yeah, everybody's made a decision on this thing. If anybody's on the fence, if anybody on the fence at this point would be weird, unless you just now found out about the thing.
There's some people that'll just take a wait and see. I just don't think they're following as closely. They want to be in here.
Yeah. I would definitely. That's
maybe
the
a
whole
few of you
thing.
are.
We're getting close. We're getting very close to for some of us to see this out in the wild. Other than how am I trying to? Other than an Intellivision employee or an Intellivision official video or like an event, we're actually getting close to seeing regular people play this, and that's going to be exciting to kind of show, hey, this is happening. This is really good working. So anyways, yeah, Flying Tigers, dude. Oh my god, I can't say enough good things.
That was
about
a fun game.
I
really
love
enjoyed
that
my
game.
time with that game.
I love shooters. I just absolutely. Yeah, going back and forth these days is fun. Nobody wins an argument on the internet. That's why
the price of gaming sums up perfectly.
We're all
I'm gonna
winners.
Wait and see. If it comes out, great. If not, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. And that's the perfect attitude to have for it.
Yeah.
If it comes out, great, you have the product. If not, then don't worry about it. If anybody who wants their refund, I hope they all get their refund.
Yeah. And I know that they're working slow on those refunds, but people are getting refunds. And I know there's someone mentioned something about Mad Max or whatever. I mean, I've never had a problem with Max. I don't really talk Amico with him, but I guess something recently he was trying to get one. I'm sure he'll get one, just like everyone else. It may take time. I
think he was trying to get his refund. I think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Get a console. Because he had one ordered, I think, at one point.
Oh, dude, I think that was just a prototype game when they first started showing game trailers. I still say they need to do that, though. I love that. I forgot. I wonder if I still have that. I used to have
It was like a temple run type of game.
Yeah, I had
like
a clip
an endless
of it. It was
runner.
like
So
Let me see if I still have it. I don't.
yeah, it's the same with the asteroids. The asteroids where
This
they
one.
have the title, and they haven't seen much more of it.
Yeah, look at that. You just had
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. So we don't know
Yeah.
where in development these are. I would think they probably had some developers that had started, showed interest. They
Yeah.
kind of gave an initial payment, and they kind of probably focused on paying for the ones that would come out first. And we haven't seen anything more from some of those games because they may not have much more to show. I mean, some of those may have just been a proof of concept. I wouldn't be surprised if like the, Cat Fighter and the Running Man was more of a proof of concept. It wasn't that flushed out. But
Yeah.
that's, again, just speculation. I don't know. If it were me running it, I would want to make sure 20 of these games are good to go. Another 20 games, I've got something to show you. We'll be working on those, but we're not paying to get those finished until, we can get the consoles out and get some revenue coming in.
So I
That
did want to kind of get to this because this was some of our topics. I didn't realize we'd be talking so much Amico. We're so into doing everything, talking everything else. But I did want to talk about the Intellivision homebrew community. And of course I don't have my banner up this whole time. Well, I'm gonna just put this up. The IntellivisionCollector.com, a great friend of the channel, a great friend of Astro Smash Mondays. And go to if you're into collecting and you love the original Intellivision, check out IntellivisionCollector.com. Also, it'll be links for homebrews, and the homebrew community is insane with Intellivision. And they got some new ones coming out. There's one I was going to show you. Actually, let me see if I could share this, just because it's something I kind of really
a couple on your.
That's actually what I'm gonna show. There's this new one coming out. From Intellivision Collector, and you can even check Intellivision Revolution, which there'll be links through. If you go to Intellivision Collector, it links all the different ones. But let me see if I can pull this up here. This one here.
I think Rev runs from Atari Age runs the Intellivision Revolution. I know it has links to every homebrew out there, and there's more homebrew games than there are original 125.
There's over 100 some homebrew games, and they keep coming out. And they even they're having to the point now where they have homebrew awards every year now.
Yep.
And they did a Castlevania adaptation called Intellivision that won last year's.
Yeah, I saw some of the footage on that. Matter of fact, I think it was Cyrus that linked that to me long before it was like a huge thing. Like somebody had gone through and made like a couple stages on it. It was pretty impressive to see.
And this one here is called a new homebrew coming out called The Show Must Go On, where you're a court jester and you have to impress the king. And he had already fired his other jester, which is pissed, and he's trying to sabotage you putting on a show for the king. And what you're doing is you're spinning plates on a stick, and you have to keep them all spinning, and you have to see how many plates you can keep spinning. Let me see if I can jump forward. And it's pretty funny and kind of interesting on how. Let me see how I can get into this. Where is it?
When it's going to be available, I'll post.
There it is.
It's
so
really.
Yeah, this right here. No, I just wanted to switch it. So yeah, you basically got to stop them from wobbling, but you got to get them all in one on the screen before you can end the screen. And meanwhile, see how the gestures up there setting fires, shooting stuff at you, knocking your plates down, and then you got the audience, and you got to get them to applause by doing tricks and jumping around, and the audience mood is all the different colors of the audience. So if they're green and yellow,
they're happy.
Doing good. Yeah, once they start getting red and blue, they're like, what's going on with this guy? And you got to keep the king happy. And there's 10 full levels, and but then it keeps getting harder and harder, and it keeps saying the show must go on, and it keeps getting harder and faster. And he's throwing knives at you, and it's just kind of a fun puzzle kind of style game with that Intellivision graphic look,
Yeah.
And then in between the thing, you see the king. Wow, how'd they do that? So his mood, he's getting up there, and you have to keep doing it. It shows all that.
It took me so long.
Yeah, the thing that always impresses me with this homebrew community, and someone had mentioned the Super Mario Brothers game and the Intellivision port. It looks really good. I mean, the limitations of the Intellivision, some of your enemy sprites have to be like single color, so you can tell it's not as advanced as the NES, but it is so like
close.
You're impressed with
right?
how close it is. And you have to remember,
Yeah.
I mean, back then, 4K of memory was the standard. If you were going to make a special game, maybe you get 8K of memory. And for an NES game, that's like nothing. So, I mean, games in like 79, 80, 81, 82,
Yeah.
they didn't have the mapper chips that NES games have. They didn't have all these special
Yeah.
abilities. Yes, the
Yeah, you guys have
Intellivision
to
doesn't
remember there was
scroll
no,
as well.
Yeah, you have to remember there's no PPU chip to be able
Yeah.
to offload some of the graphical
Look at some of
capabilities
these
too.
graphics.
There's limitations
and-
on what the
and a-
sprites can do and what
Yeah,
colors
and a
they
lot
can
of
be.
NES games were 128K to
Yeah.
give you guys reference.
So this one's called Castle of Death. A little simple room to room, kind of solve the puzzle without getting blown into bloody pixels.
Yeah, I saw like a really good like Dragon Quest port for this. It's just incredible what they could do.
Tale of
Hey.
Dragon, Tale of Dragons and Swords. This is awesome. The little spike. So that's the whole thing. Is the puzzles keep getting worse and worse. So it's kind of showing how to do what I don't know how to do, a double jump. Apparently, there it is. And then it kind of shows like, so don't get sawed. So it's like basically it comes up with board. This is kind of a training thing right here, showing you like what to do.
Yeah, Mickey, I realize that the games have a lot less memory on the Intellivision and that it doesn't have a graphic processor like the Nintendo did. I'm saying there's a difference, but being able to see some of these games, like what the system could put out, a lot of these games couldn't be put out at the time because you just didn't have enough memory, as well as the processing end of that as well. So you saw a lot of like big games come out for the Nintendo that you couldn't get on the Intellivision, and you're seeing these ports now that you just couldn't run on Intellivision back in the day. It's a combination of the two, but it kind of shows you how close the Nintendo was to the Intellivision and the ColecoVision
Yeah.
generation.
Absolutely, man.
Well, and a lot of this too, a lot of the limitations of what was coming out on the television, stuff like that, is memory was still pretty expensive, right? Like ROM memory and things like that. Was
Because they
still
did have some
fairly
8K
expensive.
cartridges that were too much, like locking
Yeah.
chains and stuff like that.
So they need to keep a certain price point, right? So you keep the memory down that you have on a cart so that you can offer that cart at a reasonable price, right? But
Yeah, there's so
now,
much. Yeah.
4 and 8K memory is like nothing.
Yeah, and it's easier to put more memory into these small carts now. So like you've seen, I probably should have kept Pete's stream up. Like they've redone Donkey Kong to where it's almost arcade, not perfect, but it's pretty close to the arcade game. As far as opposed to back then when Coleco everybody says Coleco did it purposely. Who knows? But made Ataris and Intellivision's not as good because they knew the Coleco version was coming out.
Stood for
Yeah.
double jump chuck.
I thought DJC stood for double
John.
jump chuck. That's exactly what it is, but you're not supposed to
It's
tell everybody that,
aspirational.
'cause then they're going to expect me to know how to do a double jump, and then I'll just win Finnegan Fox every time. It's just
No,
how
we'll
it
never expect you to be able to double jump.
is.
Or
But-
to be able to hold a controller in one configuration for more than 2 seconds. Apparently, it was a huge problem during Flying Tigers.
But yeah, yeah, right. I was trying to execute the sideways hold, and screwed up the whole game. No, but anyways, yeah, the whole thing is this homebrew community. If you get a chance, please go to why is my other banner not using? I don't understand what happened to my other. It doesn't matter. Whatever. But anyways, yeah, the homebrew community is awesome. Check out IntellivisionCollector.com. Because there's a lot of stuff. They have a new one called Frankenstein's Monsters about to be released for sale. Castle of Death is going to be for sale. The Show Must Go On is soon to be released, and this is all coming with overlays, a box,
Vanguard.
like a gatefold box, just like they all did with instruction manual and the game cartridge. Yeah,
And they're even doing the box art in the same kind of
they've
Intellivision style,
done-
aren't they? Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen, I don't think I've shown off too much of this stuff, but
See, because that alone would sell some copies just as a collector's item, because the box art from that day is really impressive.
like here's oh my god, so here's a Tale of Dragons and Swords here. Let me see if I can go solo here and solo
get us off.
layout. See you later, guys. No, I'm just kidding. So like that right there, like that dragon art, and just how they printed out on that there, and then look at this, like Intellivision. Just amazing. And these are all just kind of just like the old school ones. Here's Rick Dynamite. That's one I got too. Kind of a puzzle game. But there's so many. I've got like a ton of them that are I got like a shelf full of them, and I want more. But there's another one called Unlucky Pony's Adventure, which is kind of like a My Little Pony meets Super Mario Brothers. It almost looks like it's kind of neat too. And there's Cat Attack, all that stuff. Frankenstein's Monster. Yeah, because I believe that was originally an Atari game, right? Right, Creep? That's available now, if I'm not mistaken. If you go to IntellivisionRevolution.com or check Intellivision Collector, I think you can link through there. But check Intellivision Revolution because I believe that is for sale now. I think it's only like $60, so it's like the price of a new game. Maybe
65,
something like that. Yeah, some of them are more that are more like you'll see some that are then there's not many manufactured. It depends on how much is made of them because a lot of these go insanely. Like I have an Ms. Pac-Man one. Was it this one here?
So Papa Pete's saying that the Castle of Death and Frankenstein's Monster are IntellivisionRevolution.com, and those are available now.
So there you go. So Creep, there it is. In Pop, I actually want to maybe have Papa Pete on. If he maybe next week. I don't know what his Wednesday schedule is because he knows so much about this, and he's we talk about this so much on Mondays, and he has so much knowledge and about this about like the gaming awards and all the Intellivision Collector stuff. But I am just blown away by it, and I absolutely support the whole homebrew community. Talk about Intellivision living on. That homebrew community is constantly doing new games for it. You could fill your shelves double what I have here for how many homebrews there are that have taken the time and love and energy to make the games the best they can be and not be rushed to be like, this has to be out the end of the month, And I think a lot of those games were that when you're talking about a big company like Mattel, but when you have someone that just loves the system and wants to do the best they can, and you see a game like the Donkey Kong remake or D2K and how it's almost arcade style Donkey Kong on an Intellivision,
Yeah.
And how, in like Rab was saying earlier, where it's so close to Nintendo on some of these games.
It's like at the cusp. Yeah, you can see the difference. Like I said, with like the sprites and stuff.
Yeah,
like you could tell it's not there, but it's very close.
Absolutely, yeah. Saggy, what's happening? What's happening? Thanks for the little winky, happy face. But
anyway, I'm going to do a shameless plug on the impending victory of Punch Out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got to do that. Excuse me.
So I recently did a video on Punch Out. So I am dropping a link to the video. If you guys have time and you're inclined to see more on Punch Out, there's that.
Yeah, he does have a great Punch Out history on that.
Yes.
Now I can't remember. Did you mention the arm wrestling game in there?
Yes, I absolutely did.
I just recently played that, and I just did a video on the arm wrestling game made from those characters, or what was like a spin-off. It includes one of the characters. Let's just to be honest, and of Punch Out. So, but anyways, we got to end this. We've been in Ring King is awesome. I love anyone that voted for Ring King. It came in second, but yeah, and there's John Alvarado. He's alive and kicking and working hard. The guy is always working on this. Just remember that. He is constantly working on this. And so keep faith alive. Keep faith alive, guys. And anyways, I'll challenge you all to Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I love that. I used to have the arcade stand up. I used to play the arcade, and I loved the old one. The NES one too. But anyways, I'm going to end it. We went quite a long time. We've talked, and if you please check out IntellivisionCollector.com and IntellivisionRevolution.com. When you say it's getting good because it must have a hot date, hey, you never know. I just might. Oh, and I do have something. Hold on, before I go, I do have something for you guys. See, everybody keeps asking about the cat, right? So here's a little video. It's only 40 seconds long. Well, I have a couple. I had to break it up because of stupid StreamYard. So here's what my cat looks like and how crazy he is when he's playing. Here. Okay. Ready? Hold on. Get it. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm
Super
not gonna play
cute.
the whole thing, but well,
Just the head is tracking it.
what do you got coming up on Retro Roots or whatever you got coming up next?
I don't know what we're doing on Monday. We're gonna figure that out probably this weekend. I am on call this week, so I'm hoping. Well, no, actually, I'm not on call on Monday. Thank goodness. I swapped with somebody because I have a concert I'm going to on Sunday. Going to see Hailstorm and Pretty Reckless in I want to say. So it's going to be a couple hour drive to go see that on Sunday. So I'll be recovering on Monday. So I swapped a couple of days with a buddy. But I got a Game Mechanics I'm moving over on Friday on the other channel. Retro Roots will go on as planned on Monday. I'm hoping I have enough going on Tuesday that I can do a stream. I kind of canceled this one this week because I was just exhausted from work. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything that could have went wrong with trying to set up the stream went wrong. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done.
It's not meant to be.
I'm done. So, it was one of those days. But yeah,
Well,
I should have stuff all the way through on call and into the next week. And pace is going to be pretty steady on the Geek Story channel for a while. I need to get some time carved out to do some stuff on the other channel. But yeah.
Well, I thank everyone. Thank Retro Advisory Board, always dropping the knowledge. Nick, Geeks with Cash, and the Geek Storian. Great content on those channels. Please subscribe. Hey, and while you're at it, subscribe to this one. Subscribe to this one. Why not? We'll have more content and real news, not made up or refurbished from 2 months ago. And anyways, take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. Thank you as always.
Thanks for coming, everybody.